Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about how propaganda works because apparently a lot of people don't understand when they have been completely brainwashed by propaganda. This video is all about conservative, patriot, American hero Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson lived a life that most of us can only dream about. The guy was born into a filthy rich family. Everything in his life was handed to him. He never had to work for anything. His mommy and daddy were filthy rich. So Tucker Carlson had more opportunities in life than your average person from the start, from the day he was born. Now he lives in United States. He was born in United States. And United States is the country that gave him everything that made his parents rich. So how does Tucker Carlson repay his homeland for making him filthy rich? Well, he betrays them for Russia. What the heck? What I don't understand is that if you lived a life of luxury, literally everything handed to you in your entire life, how do you turn around and say, America sucks. I want to go to Russia. I love Russia. Russia is so much better than United States. I mean, Tucker is just a spoiled little brat. And that's funny because the guy is almost. No, wait. The guy is 54 years old. And he is a spoiled little brat. Now, the thing is that Tucker Carlson, being in Russia, he proved that he has no idea how average people live. I'm gonna talk about all of that later, but right now I'm gonna talk about the Putin interview that he did. Now let's be honest, it wasn't an interview. It was just Tucker Carlson asking questions that he was allowed to ask. After Putin responded to questions, he had documents ready to give to Tucker Carlson to show that, look, I just spoke about this, and here are the documents to prove that what I said is true.
I'll give you these documents.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're inventing it. I'm not sure why it's relevant to what happened 2 years ago.
But still,
They had documents ready because the speech was rehearsed, because the questions that Tucker was asking were the questions that he was allowed to ask, were the questions that Putin knew he was going to ask. Now, Putin obviously doesn't like Tucker Carlson at all, because during the interview he exposed the fact that Tucker Carlson wanted to join the CIA, but he was refused. After the interview with Tucker Carlson, Putin did an interview with the Russian media where he pretty much said that he was a bit disappointed in Tucker Carlson for not asking any real difficult questions. Now, the funny thing is that it's obvious that Tucker asked the questions that he was allowed to ask.
Полного удовольствия от этого интервью я не получил. Думал, что он как раз и будет вести себя агрессивно и будет задавать эти так называемые острые вопросы. Я не просто был к этому готов, а я этого хотел.
So why did Putin say that Tucker Carlson not asking any difficult questions was a bit disappointing? Well, it's because Tucker went through what's called a humiliation ritual in Russia. Putin exposed him as wanting to join the CIA but being refused. Putin, said that he didn't ask any difficult questions. It's because Putin does not like Tucker Carlson. You see, Putin does not like traitors, even if these traitors are trying to suck up to him. So essentially, what happened was Putin took out his cock, pissed in Tucker Carlson's face, and Tucker Carlson said, "Thank you." You would think that after being humiliated by the Russian president, he's going to fuck out of Russia, but no, Tucker decides to stay at Russia. And this is where the propaganda goes 100% into action. Tucker went into Russian metro in Moscow, and he was so amazed that everything in that metro was so beautiful. It was so amazing. Because Tucker was in one metro station in Russia, and the metro station was very beautiful and clean, Tucker decided that all of Russia is more beautiful and clean than all of the United States. I'm not joking. He was in a metro station that was clean and beautiful, and because of that, because he was in one place, in his mind, the entire country of Russia is more beautiful than all of United States. That's absolutely insane. And that reminded me of the movie The Interview, where James Franco goes to North Korea and everything is so nice and so beautiful, only to find out in the end that it was all a lie. The difference is that the James Franco movie Interview was a comedy movie. But what Tucker Carlson is doing, that's not a movie. That's real life, okay? The guy is just, I don't know, is he a complete moron or is he just a propagandist? Like, I have a hard time believing that one person can be this brain dead. You can't decide based on one metro station in Russia that all of Russia is perfect. It's all beautiful. The country is utopia, okay? It's a perfect place to live. It's the most beautiful place on the planet. Absolutely insane take by Tucker. Then he goes to a grocery store and takes out a shopping cart. And this is where Tucker proves that the guy who claims to be, I'm representing the common man, the people, is actually a rich, snobby, spoiled elite. Tucker sees that the shopping cart has a chain on it, and he realizes that you have to put a coin inside the shopping cart. The chain comes loose, and after that, you can bring the shopping cart back, and you'll get the coin back. Whoa! No other place has something like this invented. Like, what the fuck? I mean, this is a normal thing in every country, I assume.
All right, here we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay.
So I just assume that Tucker Carlson is so rich that he has never went to the store by himself. He has people that go to the store for him. And this is the man who claims to represent the folks, I'm representing the American people. No, you're not. You don't even know how to go to the store, you idiot. When I first saw Tucker Carlson, not knowing how to use a shopping cart, figuring it out for the first time, I laughed my ass off. This was absolutely insane. But don't worry, Tucker Carlson goes into the store and he proves that he has no idea how money works. The guy is so rich that he does not understand the value of money. He goes to the store and spends 13,000 rubles on food. 13,000 rubles on food. Think about how crazy that is. Now, if you don't understand, let me explain. An average pension for an elderly person in Russia is 20,000 rubles. That's all they earn for the entire month. Tucker spent like 70% of an average elderly person's monthly income on food in one day. Not a single normal person in Russia is like, hey honey, I'm gonna go to the store and spend 13,000 rubles on food. Like, if you spend that much money on food, your significant other is going to kill you. But Tucker doesn't understand that the income in Russia is very small. That's why the food is cheaper than in the West. Because if the food in Russia was just as expensive as it is in the West, then Russians would have to choose Are they going to eat or are they going to pay their bills? I have never seen such cheap food in my life. 13,000 rubles can give me so much food. Oh my god, Russia is perfection. I mean, in United States, we have been ruined. We have been ruined by everything is so expensive. But in Russia, not only is everything so cheap, but the cost of living is way better, which is absolute insanity considering the fact that Americans earn like what? 5 times as more as your average Russian. I don't know if Tucker Carlson is brain dead or if the guy is just a propagandist. But imagine Tucker Carlson finding an elderly person and telling them that your life is so much better than in the West. I mean, you get so much money, everything is so cheap. It's amazing, your country is the best. And then he shows the 13,000 rubles that he spent for food to the elderly person. I think the elderly person would have a heart attack, or they would slap Tucker Carlson in the face. Now, the fact is that Tucker Carlson is trying to spread propaganda that life in Russia is so much better than United States. Why are so many Russians drunks? Is it because they love the way they live? They are happy with what they earn? They drink because their life sucks. Now what's gonna happen next? Is Tucker Carlson going to take a trip to Africa? And he goes to some African jungle. And deep in the jungle he finds a guy. And the guy sells him a banana for 5 cents. Is Tucker Carlson going to buy the 5-cent banana and be like, oh my god, this banana costs 5 cents in this African jungle. Why can't bananas be 5 cents in United States? This African jungle is so much better than the United States, okay? Tucker Carlson is a moron who does not understand the value of money, who does not understand how shopping carts work, who does not understand the fact that because there is one beautiful metro in Russia, that doesn't mean that every single part of Russia is beautiful. It's a beautiful utopia. Amazing. The guy is brain dead. The guy is an absolute idiot, an imbecile. And the fact that so many Westerners watch his video and they are like, this guy is telling us the truth. He's telling us the truth that life in Russia is better than in United States. Like, what? And what the fuck is wrong with Westerners? Like, how can you be this stupid? Like, I have no more words for this nonsense.
And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.